What's up, everybody? This is Gary Holt from Exodus and formerly from Slayer, and you're listening to The Razor's Edge.
Welcome back to The Razor's Edge and our first interview of the year with Joe from Urne. Joe, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. It's miserable as sin down the coast today, but I'm back uptown tomorrow for a listening event. So people can hear the new album a week or so before it's released. And yeah, I don't know what to expect. To be honest with you, be nice if a few people turn up. But yeah, like I never really know how to do these things. Like the whole meet and greet thing, we've only ever done it once, and we'd only ever do it at Bloodstock. But even then, I was like, we're going to stand up and meet people. I can't. The thought of sitting down and someone come up to me, I feel like I ain't better than that person. I'll greet that person on that level. So we back and forth, and I was like, I just want to stand there and be a fan. Yeah. And I love this album, and I just want to stand around with a few other people listening to it. Like, I think it starts at 6. I think we'll probably play it for the first time at like 6:30.
Yeah.
Just want to see people just have a chat in that, you know what I mean? So yeah, that's tomorrow. So fingers crossed it's good.
I 100% guarantee it will be. Having heard the album already, I 100% guarantee it will be.
Let's hope.
So before we talk about that album, I just want to jump back in time. What first got you into heavy music?
So I think a lot of my sort of thing maybe started off very going real back. Billy Joel, We Didn't Start the Fire. As a kid, I remember, not that Billy Joel's heavy or anything or whatnot, but it's the pounding of that song. Then Meatloaf. You know, I was taking the little steps, got Meatloaf. And then I think Aerosmith really took it up that little bit of a gritty level. And where we were from, being South London, there weren't many lads our area that seemed to be into it. So apart from me and my mate Greg, so we were trying to find it on our own. So he would buy an Offspring record, and I'd go and buy whatever Metallica, and we'd go back and listen to it. And it's funny, Greg took a bit more of a punk route, but now he probably listens to more extreme music than me. And but yeah, I think it was just finding a way. And then you hit your like early teens, and then like mates' older brothers are like, yeah, here's a mixtape. And you're going home, and I'm like, oh, what's on this mixtape? And it might be something like amazing, like Slayer, but then a new band's out on the scene called Orgy, which is like industrial fucking new metal. But at the time, you're like, yeah, I love Orgy. So yeah, I think it was finding your way. But I think Aerosmith, the edginess like of early Aerosmith, really, I was like, yeah, this is exciting. But I will say, I think when, like most of us, the moment I heard Metallica, it was done. It was game over. You know, I think a mate's older brother was like, let me play you something. And he played the second half of One. And he went, I bet you can't guess what the first half is. And I was like, no. And then he played the first half, and I was like, fucking hell. I'm in. Yeah. So yeah, that was me.
Excellent. Yeah, I think a lot of us got in that route, especially the Metallica route. It's especially people of our age. I think that was the route in, wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh, mate, absolutely.
So prior to Urne, both you and Angus had periods in Hang the Bastard. But what was the driving force behind you coming together and forming Urne?
So before Hang the Bastards. I'm picking up your accent. So before that, me and Angus were actually in a band called Chapters, which was the singer of that was in Silosis, and I can't even remember. Do you know what? We had quite a few lineup changes. One of the drummers we did have went in. He's now in Conjurer, Noah. One of the guys is now in that pirate metal band who I won't name, but he's a great guy. But yeah, it was me and Angus. It was me, Angus, a guy Stuart who taught Angus a lot. So we were already together. Then I got asked to join Hang the Bastard, and I said to Angus, like, do you want to come along? And we need a fill-in. And basically, just joined the band, and
Yeah.
it was easy stuff for both of us. And the problem is, I don't think I've ever regained my chops. Like, it was what it needed was just heavy, groovy riffs, but I don't think I've ever been the same, because I think I did that for too many years. And sadly, we kind of turned away from doing chapters, which was a real, basically what led Urne to be this thing. When Hang the Bastard ended, like, I was like, let's get back to what we do, but let's take our time. So we did called the Mountain of Gold, I think. But on the main album, I was like, this is where we do what we do. And a song that we were writing with chapters was actually the song that got us signed.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, and I just think me and Angus both know what we want to hear. And I will write the dumb, stupid riffs or whatnot, and Angus writes all the smart stuff. Put it together, and that's what makes it. But we have such a, like, to this week we're talking, today we're buying tickets to see Death Metal, next week it's Beat Play, King Crimson. It's all, we just like so much music, really, and I just think we like a lot of the same. Not everything's exactly, our music tastes aren't identical, but the core of it is. And I just think me and him write good music together.
Absolutely, you do. It's certainly true. So, present day now, Urne's third album, Setting Fire to the Sky, comes out next week. You've got a listening party tomorrow night. I've had it on repeat since December when you sent it through to us. So, for me, it's going to be hard to top as album of the year. It is that good. It is your Master of Puppets, if we're using a Metallica reference. So, how pleased are you with the album?
Yeah, for me, like, I'm a pretty honest guy, and it's the album that I've listened to the most from us. Like, the first album I struggled to listen to. The production now, I'm not too sure. And we've got a new drummer since, who's a bit more capable than the guy on that. But even though the guy on that was a great arranger and songwriter, I think, fucking hell. And then Feast on Sorrow, the hard one to listen to for personal reasons. It's not like, let's put a record on and hear about my relatives dying. Do you know what I mean? Where this one, I'm like, I wanted to do that classic intro, the acoustic thing I got inspired by when I first heard Fight Fire Fire. And I was always like, I want to do one of them. And I've been in X amount of released, and God knows how many EPs, CDs and whatnot, but never done it. And then it came to me in Tesco's in Shepherd's Bush. And so I was like, it's got to go on. And I love it. I love this record, and I think we all do. Our manager loves it, and our manager Simon, he's in the industry for 30 odd years, and he's like, it's one of the top sort of 3 records I've ever worked on any level. And he's like, I fucking love it, and everyone just seems to love it. Like, this is, like, we all feel excited, and some people, might be a bit caught out by the finale, which the final track is actually Breathe. I know on the press release there's a bonus track, but for me it finishes at Breathe. And I know some people might be, but for me the finale's Harken the Waves, and the end credits is Breathe. Do you know what I mean? The finale, the end of Gladiator, is Harken the Waves, and the credits that come afterwards is Breathe. So that's how we based it.
Yeah.
And but I love it, mate. I've got to be honest. I've actually fucking been listening to it today. So I was like, oh God, yeah. I like, there's certain moments I'm like, yes.
Yeah. And for me, when I've got my first listen, and that first 3 songs, that opening salvo of the album is like, that blew me away. That's like, oh my, I've loved your previous 2 albums, but this one is like, oh, this is next level. This is amazing. So
yeah, no, absolutely. And what I like about the first 3 songs, they're pretty different from each other. You've got a big stadium, chuggy anthem feel. Weep Into the World, it sounds, I mean, it's essentially Peter Gabriel, Toto and Judas Priest in one song. And then Spirit Alive, to me, it's probably a bit more of a kind of the Gothenburg sound that came into the early metalcore, but when metalcore wasn't the dirty word that it is now. And I love it. But my favourite one is track 4, Setting Fire to the Sky. Yeah. I didn't have nothing to do with that. It's all wrote by Angus, so I can like it.
Yeah, you're always critical of your own work, aren't you? So if it's written by someone else, it makes it that bit easier. Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So how soon after A Feast on Sorrow did you start thinking about this album and writing it?
Pretty sharpish, to be fair, because we had James was the new toy that we really wanted to push, because he only had about 7 weeks to prepare for Feast on Sorrow, between being a dad, a teacher, learning all that stuff. It was playing like, oh, can you do this? Can you do that? Well, this time it's just like wanted to get to know him a bit more as a drummer. We've known him for years, but I would say things like The Spirit of Life we had pretty early on. Weep Into the World we had pretty early on, like even right during writing for A Feast on Sorrow, we just knew, like Weep Into the World, I knew it had nothing to do on A Feast on Sorrow. It was just too different. Breathe we found on a mixtape I wrote 14 years ago, and it was just like very, it was on an old semi out of tune acoustic guitar, and then Angus had to sort of tweak some bits. And then it became that. But yeah, we had a few songs, and in the last 2 months, pardon me, we set a date to record, and then in the last 2-3 months, it was like, let's crack on. Bless Angus, he went above and beyond, really. But yeah, I'd say some of it was being wrote around Feast and Sorrow time, but you just got to pick and choose and know what's the right song to go where.
Yeah, absolutely. And A Feast on Sorrow was massively critically acclaimed. So how much pressure does that put on you this time round to produce something equal to, if not better?
Well, it's weird. Critically, loved it, but I think he should have done. Personally, I think he should have done a hell of a lot more.
Yeah,
there was a few things behind the scenes maybe weren't right, and should have done a hell of a lot more. But I think it was probably it might have made sense if that was the third record and Setting Fire was the second. I just think it was the first thing was this big anthemic album. The next thing is this really aggressive, bleak sort of record. I think I do think that could have been a little bit bigger. I thought it was going to take us up a little notch, but everyone who's heard it loves it. Get a message from Chris Contos the other day going, "I've worn that vinyl out," and that's one of my heroes growing up. Fucking drummed and burned my eyes. Do you know what I mean? But for me, I just knew we needed to play it differently. The production needed to be different. The songs needed to be different. I needed to sing on it more. The artwork needed to be visually completely different. So we did that, and I think it's benefited us. I think it's where the last album, A Feast on Sorrow, it's going to be dark. This one, Setting Fire to the Sky, it feels big, it feels glorious. And you know what I mean? Like, we just knew there was a few things we needed to change to go away from that. But already I've started kind of writing the third record and the fourth record, and I know that's going to be really different. I'm excited by that challenge, and we haven't even got this one out yet.
Absolutely. And yeah, you haven't even seen the fan reaction to it yet. You'll see some of that tomorrow night. So, you've pretty much always been a trio, and you recorded this album as a trio even. But now you've brought Curtis Bagley on board. I had a chat with him in Wolverhampton on the Orange Goblin tour. So, what was the driving force behind expanding the lineup?
Our manager, really. And I think once he got this album, he was just like, without having a meal, he was over from Switzerland and without having a meal. And he was like, it's the time to get another guitarist. And for me, unless probably Angus had the same person in his mind, I would have held off. And like James was the only drummer we wanted, and we got him. And Curtis, I said to Angus, and he was like, Curtis is like, he doesn't play on this album, and live he's doing all the rhythm. He's fucking outrageous. I feel a little bit like, I said this in a few things, when Megadeth got Marty and Mustaine, because they both can go, and it's very different to each other. Him and Angus can go, like, Curtis is a real, like, Angus just sits there sometimes, he's like, what the fuck, what are you doing? And he's just like, oh yeah, man, it's just this, blah, blah, blah. But we got Curtis in. We've known him for years, younger than us, and he used to come and watch us in our old bands when he was young. His best mate's Fez in Loathe, and they used to come and watch us when they were teenagers, when they were kids. And we asked him, and he was like up for it. He's amazing. He's never really been in a proper band though. He's his business is a wedding band. That's what he does. You know, it's his job. He owns his business. He does really well. So we got him on board, and it's weird. Like, I've known him for years. James hasn't, but it's like seamless, honestly, effortless. And the amount that we're going to improve because of this guy, because of his musical knowledge, really like taught university, studied, can sing. We're going to improve massively, and it's been an honour, really. And he's loving it. We're having a really good time.
Yeah, absolutely, and he definitely brings something to the live shows. Obviously, we saw it on that tour in December, and he seems really up for it from the chat I had with him. So, yeah, looking forward to see what comes next with Curtis on board. And you touched on this a minute ago, but I want to dive a little deeper. So, from the start of the band, your albums have always been critically acclaimed. You've got big name supporters like Gajira, and you had that amazing set of Bloodstock a couple of years ago. And I interviewed Joe from Orange Goblin in the lead up to their farewell, and he's citing you as their successor, if you like. So, but despite all of that, you're not as big as you should be. Your albums, your output, your live shows, you should be massive by now. So, what do you think would drive you getting bigger? Will it be this album? What do you need to do to take it to the next level?
Well, I do think this album's the right album, and we are very fortunate. Like, we're very lucky. We got a lot of people who I guess matter, even though I guess everyone matters, but people should know what I mean, who support the band, back the band, believe in the band. But one thing we went from doing, and I think it slowed down massively last year, playing in front of people, playing all over the shop. Like, I feel like that dropped a little bit. Maybe us not pushing enough, and maybe just the albums didn't connect, but we need to be out there more. And we probably have to do a few things where we kind of go, we'll do this tour, but we might not take the right fee, but we got to get out there. You know, hard thing is like other bands, it might be a bit easier. They might be better looking than I am. Do you know what I mean? They might be bigger on TikTok than I am. But I want to do it the real way. And I've grown up, thankfully, I don't want to miss a step in anything in life. And I don't want any hand-me-outs. I just, it's nice to have people go, you're good because you're good. And I want to work properly at it. And for me, going over next month to Europe, some of the shows, we might have 150 people, 200 people. And it'd be the first time they see us headline, but I want to work on it. And the next time I go back, I want there to be 400, 500, whatever, and keep working at it. Do it. What's it like the old way? What I grew up, when I was younger, going to watch these bands, I would see some bands come through like fucking 2-3 times a year from America. And I was like, what? And I want to work properly at it. And I just think that's the big thing for we need to get out in front of people and get back to that. And with this new lineup and the confidence, I want people to be like, wow, that is a proper band.
Yeah. And you talked about you've all got day jobs as well. So how do you juggle getting out more with the responsibilities of life?
Well, James has got it. James works in a music school, and they're pretty encouraging. You know, he can do a lot of his job as well. He can teach, but he also manages. So he can manage from the road. We've been there. An amount of emails, calls, chatting to some mums, bring them in. And I'm like, fucking hell. And he's great at it. Like, he's so passionate. Angus, support from his work, but he can also freelance, does graphic designer sort of thing. Curtis owns his own business. Yeah. It's up to him. Me, quite fortunate, quite supportive. I work in a law firm. Quite supportive. And I just managed to make it work. There's also like little kind of things, you have like a timeout month. I can go, I'm going to go on tour for a month, don't get paid or anything, but I'll earn from the band. So everyone's a bit, got the support. But if things start ramping up, and fingers crossed, them boys are quite lucky. They can all like freelance or what have you. Like James has, got a full-time job, but for music store, it's good for him to be going out. I might have but for me, I might have to look at different things, but we'll have to cross that bridge, if we get there.
Absolutely, and I
Yes.
don't know if you've seen it, but there's been an interview come out the last few days with Witch Fever where they're talking about they've been on the road in arenas with Volbeat and they've made no money out of it, and it's how, especially if you're trying to you've got to pay rent or mortgages
Yeah.
and live, and
Yeah.
if you're not making money on the road, how do you manage that?
Well, funny enough, like we earn a little bit from the band, but we're you've got to be a bit savvy with things. This is only what we do, but I would never for 1 minute think I'm going to leave my job at this stage.
Yeah,
I mean, not being rude. I went out and opened for Avatar on a whole complete sold out tour,
mm,
2,000 people whatever a night, and they didn't think, oh, I'm going to leave my job for this. Went out in Gajira opening for that. I didn't think I'd leave my job. But it's different people, different ages,
yeah,
different points in the road. I mean, I wouldn't rely on a band at this stage to be opening and to be earning all my money. But what we take is a bit of pocket money. We
yeah,
have we had a good Christmas, and you've got to be a bit savvy with it. And just, I see some bands. There was like a band last year who was like went and got like a nightliner, and they're about the same size of us. And I was like, we got a mini nightliner. This company in Brighton. I had the greatest time. We had a fucking great time.
mm,
And we walked away with a bloody good bit of profit. And the van, it was all kitted out lovely. It cost whatever, 140 quid a night for 3.5 weeks.
mm,
And maybe merch, just do one print, one colour design instead of 5 colours. Got to think about it. Like different things you can do. But again, look, that's how I do it. Other people might not. Other people might want to have the 5 colour designs and put themselves a little bit at risk of maybe losing a bit. But you've got to really, about it. You speak to your manager, you speak to your booking agent, you find out what's best.
yeah,
And if you're going to look at something and you think, well, we're going to lose here, is it worth it? Don't do it.
yeah. So so you're talking about hitting the road and hitting the road more frequently. So after the album drops next week, what are your plans for touring?
Well, as it stands at the moment, we're going to Europe on a little thing just to say hello to France and Netherlands and Germany. Then we got some time off, but a few things have changed behind the scene. I really want to have a proper short run of Ireland. I want to do Belfast, Dublin, maybe Limerick, maybe Cork.
Mm,
I really want to take out hopefully they're still going, a band called Dead Label. I
yeah,
think it'd be a really cool little package. And maybe someone else opening, like another band from Ireland. I much prefer to push Irish bands than and then take over a couple of British bands. No offense, I think there's some great bands in Ireland, and it's
yeah,
they're hungry as well. So I want to do that. So we've got to arrange that. And for the headliner, for me, I'd want to do that as part one. Part two, maybe focus on the north. Part three, we'd do like the southern things, but we'd take out different bands each time.
yeah,
And what I'd love to be able to do is make it really affordable, but let people know. Like, I find it weird if people are going to pay 25 quid to see Urne. I'm like, fucking no chance. I'd
yeah,
love to do. When I was growing up, you had the Roadrunner Road Rage tour, and it was £6.66.
yeah,
Got to see 3 killer bands, and what you did straight off the bat was Killswitch Engage, who have now had a career that spanned over 25 years. Paid £6, sold out in Astoria. People bought merch because you're paying 6 quid for a ticket. I'd love to be able to do something like that, get a couple of killer UK bands
mm,
and split it up and just make it more enjoyable. So, but I don't want to rip people off. I want us to, things are getting out of hand
yeah,
on the old ticket front. Bruno Mars, £588. You're having a laugh. I
yeah,
want to just bring it in. I just want it to be about the music.
yeah,
Like for me, I don't want to con people. And if everyone can earn a bit from it, great. But I don't want to be like, I want to charge 25, 30 quid and walk away with a load of money. It's not about that. I prefer people to come and have a good time.
How much control do you have on ticket prices compared to the promoter of the events? Do you have much say at all in that?
Well, I'd like to think we have a bit of say, otherwise I probably wouldn't play. So we've got to meet in the middle. And
Yeah,
I understand that people need to earn, but let's get some normality back here.
yeah,
I mean, I see Brixton. You think Brixton Academy 20 years ago, 9 Inch Nails, £12.
yeah,
I mean, where was the jump to where it's now acceptable. I mean, imagine in 5 years a teenager going to go, "Oh, I want to go and watch fucking whoever Mastodon," and it's going to be over a oneer to see Mastodon.
Yeah.
I'm like, how's it gone to that? So, you know, not that we haven't got any real skin in it. You know what I mean? Like, people probably tell me to fuck off, but you know, I can only try. And I just want, for me, I'm a fan.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And like, I just want it. I just want people to be able to come and enjoy it. You know, instead of going, fucking hell, that's a bit expensive. And I do know prices are going up, but if we can try and do anything we can to make it sort of normal, I want to try and do that.
Yeah, sounds good. And yeah, I can't wait for you to come back on the road, hoping for KKs, because you played there twice now, haven't you? And
yeah. Oh, that little room there, I didn't know. I was wandering around like fucking in a trance trying to find it, and I was like, "Oh, it's in the corner." I was like, "Which corner?" I was like winding me up, you. And but yeah, I think something like that would be quality. And you know, I'd love to take out bands like, I don't know, Hidden Mothers would be a great band to go out with. God, you know what I mean? It's just, do you know what the hard thing is? There's so many.
Yeah.
But you know, I'd love to take them guys out. Celestial Sanctuary, I'd like to take out. Because I want to make Burner. I'd love to take out.
Yeah.
I'd just like to make a couple of cool packages, and I hope, you know, I'd be like, this is the deal. Let's just make a couple of, like, let's make it old school. I mean, not just fucking kind of rip people off. Let's go and have a quality time. And like I say, I want to split it up, so you know, it gives us more to look forward to.
Yeah, sounds good. So I don't want this to sound like a job interview, but if I was to ask you now, where do you see yourself being in 5 years' time? Where do you think Urne will be at that point?
Well, the way I physically feel, if I'm alive, I'd be buzzing. The back's in a bad way, the legs are going. Fucking, I look like the final days of Lionel Blair sometimes when I'm walking. But I'd like to think that Urne, I've got 2 more albums under, and I don't think we wrote the masterpiece that I want to write yet. And I've always thought, if we did 5 albums, we got to tell our story. That'd be, I'd like to be able to tell my story of what me and Angus and James picture and Curtis, get that done, and then have a chat, be like, how many more? If it's going amazing, lovely, fantastic, wonderful. But, you know, we have a lot of steps to do right. But I would love to just be able to be out with my mates touring. We love being out on tour with each other.
Yeah.
I love being around the lads. I'd love to just be doing more of it and just creating our version of metal.
Absolutely. Can't wait for it, to be honest. So, Joe, it's been a pleasure talking to you tonight. It's always a pleasure talking to you. Setting Fire to the Sky is the album of the year, and it lands on January the 30th via Spine Farm Records. So I'm encouraging everyone listening to this now to go and check it out next Friday, because it is genuinely one of the best things I've heard in a long time.
Thank you so much, mate.
Thanks for listening. Make sure you keep up to date with all of our interviews by subscribing to our channel. For all the latest news, reviews, interviews and more, head over to our website, www.therazorsedge.rocks.